Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 19 of Wednesday Wisdom. We were on a short break, but we are back now. For those who have joined for the first time, Wednesday Wisdom is where we hold an hour long session on topics from which members of Toastmasters can gain some knowledge. Recently, we started doing only panel discussion as we thought one topic, two panelists means more knowledge, even if it's conflicting and one moderator who will actually get a wider audience while he or she finishes level 5 elective of panel discussion. Today's topic is very intriguing. Use of AI and ChatGPT in speech writing. And as a moderator today, we have with us someone who holds a PhD in ergonomics and have been working as a visiting faculty in S&DT Women's University for over 10 years. She has served as a club president and is currently serving as a VP Ed for Iroli Bilingual Toastmasters Club. She has also worked for a non-profit called Femsaki for 5 years. As hobbies, she's into adventure sports and is a fan of both fiction as well as non-fiction books. So let's put our hands together for who's apt to moderate this topic, a fan of science fiction, thriller, and adventure, and who also has a strong willingness to help people to learn and grow. Toastmaster Pallavi, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Sunita, for such a lovely introduction. Good evening, everyone, and welcome all to the 19th episode of Wednesday Wisdom series. Today we have got a very interesting topic, exploring AI and ChatGPT in script writing. And we have got two very, very interesting panelists to talk about this topic, with whom we are going to have a wonderful discussion. So friends, before we get into today's topic, I want to share something with you. Whenever we talk about Toastmasters, we talk about certain skills, like we say that we are here to develop our communication skills, our public speaking skills, and leadership skills. We are here to build networking. And when it comes to how it impacts, how it creates, how it impacts our life, we talk about the inspiration and motivation that we get from our mentors, the leadership, the guidance that our mentors provide us. But however, I think there is one thing one very prominent domain that we forget to talk about. I think there is one more skill which we use in our Toastmasters meeting on daily basis. It is writing skill. Because like every time when we have to speak something, we first have to write it. We need a script written with us before we come on the stage and speak. So I think Toastmasters definitely helps us to become a better communicator and leader. But at the same time, it helps us become a better writer also. I can feel it myself that when I joined Toastmasters, I wasn't very that good with writing skills. But here I learned how to create a well-structured script with an opening, body, and conclusion. Every time we don't have, like, some speeches require us to use facts and figures, statistics, but at times there are projects which require us to use our imagination, which require us to like be very creative, evoke emotions, persuade audience. Those are the times when we have to use our imagination, creative thinking, all these skills to come up with a fabulous script which will influence our audience. We want to touch the heart of our audience. So I think writing skills and creative thinking are also skills which are are taught by Toastmasters. Do you agree?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Before moving to the discussion again, I want to introduce our two esteemed panelists who I have with me today. Our first panelist is Toastmaster Ranganathan Ramani. With over 35 years of experience Toastmaster in IT industry, he is an accomplished professional with a deep-seated passion for swimming, track, trekking, and reading. Since 2018, he has been a member of Toastmasters and he has been honing his public speaking and leadership skills over there. Not just in professional domain, he also has got passion towards IT, green IT and sustainability. He is driven by the desire to contribute positively to the environment. Welcome Toastmaster Ranganathan Ramani to this
Thank
forum.
you. Thank you.
Okay, before we move on, can you tell us something about green IT? What is green IT?
Okay. Green IT is basically, there are two aspects of IT. One part of IT which helps other industries to measure and monitor and support their sustainability initiatives. Another one is how IT itself can be green. For example, the data centers and server farms, how can we reduce the energy footprint and how can we reduce the carbon footprint, etc. Because even IT, while it helps other industries, even by itself, it consumes a lot of energy. Data centers already consume about 3% of the world global energy consumption, which is likely to push up with all the artificial intelligence and other thing coming up to close to about 15%, which will be very significant. And therefore, IT cannot just preach, it has to walk the talk themselves. So that's green IT.
Wow, very interesting. Something very fascinating I found about you. Our second panelist for today, our second guest is Toastmaster Sudha Warrior. Sudha is a happily married wife. She is a mother of two lovely kids, for 24 years old daughter and a 19-year-old son. She is working as an executive director for a wealth firm and heads the offshore vertical apart from having Bangalore, Pune, and Mumbai's offices overall responsibility. She has been a mentor for many people, not just in Toastmasters, but also in her professional life. She's a certified life coach, a natural problem solver, and a sucker for romance, and she believes in positivity and karma. In Toastmasters, she has completed two pathways, effective coaching and motivational strategies. She has held many compositions. She has participated and won many awards at club, area, and division level. Presently, she is serving as the area director for District 18, Area 41. She loves music, dance, reading, blogging, and travel. She joined Toastmasters because of the opportunities provided by the platform to develop our public speaking and communication skills and not to miss networking opportunities also. Welcome, Sudha. Welcome to the forum.
Thank you so much, Pallavi. Good evening, everyone.
Okay, so friends, as we were talking about script writing, which is an integral part of Toastmasters journey, because without a script, what are we going to speak if we don't have a script with us? These days we have technology progressing by leaps and bounds, and we have something new coming up every day. And the latest invention is AI. And in AI also, the most talked about application of AI is ChatGPT. I think these days that is the most talked about word we have. So obviously we have to keep up with the technology. If we don't follow it, we will fall behind. So we have to keep up with it. So before I go ahead, I get into exploring use of ChatGPT and AI into script writing. I want to know from Sudha, what do you think? What are the skills which are required to write a script in Toastmasters?
Thank you so much, Pallavi. So I belong to the generation where I probably started with a CC and a CTM in Toastmasters. And today we obviously have the Pathways, which is the new platform which we all are familiar with. And now, yes, it's been just a month or two, maybe people are talking about ChatGPT in Toastmasters. So I must talk about one youngest Toastmaster that I have in my club, who's the one who actually introduced me to, or introduced all of us to ChatGPT and speech writing. So he's a hacker in some way. I don't want to name his, I don't want to tell his name because maybe he's watching us, but people from my club know who he is. So I think I was intrigued at the way he used to every day, every time he wanted to take a speech, he was ready with it in just half an hour, 1 hour. So I thought he's a very efficient speaker. And when I came to know that ChatGPT is the culprit behind it, I said, is this right? Is it ethical? I mean, creative writing is very important. If ChatGPT is going to replace that, then Toastmasters is not going to be the same. So I personally think when we listen to a good speech, what do we look for? Has it connected to the audience? And when we talk about connection to the audience, ChatGPT is not going to know how and what kind of audience you have, what kind of message you want to give. So it's a lot of hacking that you have to do on ChatGPT to get the best output. Now, is it really worth it? I don't know. Is there development? I don't think so. So I personally think that use ChatGPT, but leave creativity to your own mind. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudha. I would want to know from Ranganathan, what do you think about the skills which are required to write a wonderful script?
Yeah, I think for a good communicator, we always say that he has to be a good listener. Likewise, if you want to be a good writer, you should be a good reader. I mean, you should be an ardent reader so that you can pick up what others have already done, and put so much of printed material is there, and so many books are there. Reading books is a wonderful skill to develop before we can seriously contemplate even talking about writing our own script, because that gives a perspective. So to me, I would always say the skill starts with ability to read. And as much as you read, the better scriptwriter you will be.
Wonderful point, Ranganathan. I mean, I had forgotten this reading aspect of before we get into writing, we have to read a lot. Thanks for bringing up the age-old tradition of reading, which is required to become a better writer. So thank you for that. Okay, now since we are going to talk about technology and how it is going to assist us, whether it is going to be a good thing or bad thing, we don't know. In script writing, we have latest technology, which can even do things which earlier were supposed to be done by only human intelligence. So we have technology that is doing it, that is known as AI. So before my next question will be from Ranganathan. What is AI and ChatGPT? First of all, let us know what is it all about.
So let's first and foremost remove that mysticism or magic notion of magic about AI. There's nothing magical or mystical about AI. It ain't doing anything what already human beings have done for years. So let us get out of the fear that AI is going to replace all human beings. So, I mean, there's a different connotation, but in this context, I don't think we need to be really worried about that. Artificial intelligence, traditionally computers were seen as calculators, glorified calculators, and they can do the arithmetic much faster than human being can ever do. Then we saw computers can do repetitive transactions much faster than we human beings can do, because they simply are focusing on specific areas. They don't do multi-skills, specific area. And then it moved on to first generation of AI, which was called very basic area. We call it as a weak or simple AI, which used to focus on specific area. I mean, in the context of Toastmasters, I would say, even in 2007, 8, our even before the term artificial intelligence, ChatGPT and all, which have become popular now, much before that, even in 2008, 7, 8, those days, there's a company called NICE, which used to do voice recording for call samples of call center employees, right? So in call center, it's a taboo that the agent should never ask for the password of the person whom client is speaking to. So this NICE used to, all that do the recording, it simply do an analysis of the speech, and wherever, if any agent is using the word password, it will immediately flash it up, and some human intelligence will come and listen to that and see whether did he actually ask the password. And later on, they also introduced what is called emotional detection. Was the customer irate? His pitch level was unusually high compared to normal pitch level. So it used to flag those calls for some human intelligence to intervene, whether a customer is likely to drop off in a, angry customers are likely to sign off, sign out of your product or your services. So these kind of things already existed, but they were all very weak levels of AI because they focus specific areas and short. Now come to this current era, we are talking about generative AI. IBM calls it general purpose AI. Again, it doesn't do anything other than what is already there. In whatever you want to search, even Google does the same thing to a certain extent. We never realize that probably when we do a simple search in Google, actually there is some AI engine which is working on that to optimize and most relevant topic to you. And even if you are reading a book on Kindle, many times we highlight certain letters, certain words which are frequently used. We think we are reading the Kindle book. How many of us know that Kindle is actually reading you? Because the kind of interest that you highlight and show, it stores in a memory, and say tomorrow it will prompt topics related to that. You know, so this is the AI is developing with an advancement in computing power, right? But AI is, if anybody says AI, Gen AI is creative tool, it's little of overstatement. I would say why? Because it's not creating anything. In a simple example, we all know what is kaleidoscope. In childhood, there was a trapezoid or a triangular piece. At the end of it, there will be few broken color bangle scripts, and with it, all the three sides mirror. You rotate it each time, you get a different shape. Is it really creating anything? The same set of glass pieces are there. It's only throwing the thing in different combinations. ChatGPT or generative AI does not do anything differently. They already have. Only thing is they outbid human beings in terms of speed. The amount of information they can access, because they don't do any tea break or don't have any thing. In a quick fraction of few seconds, they actually scroll the whole lot of it. They scan through lot of pages, and then in a quick nutshell they give you, depending on the algorithm and scoring pattern, what they, and I don't want to get into technology piece, but they don't create anything. For example, in fact, I can share if we have time, maybe later. If you write a script, it only modifies the same thing with some elite sounding word. You know, if you use ChatGPT, if you write a couple of sentences and put it through ChatGPT or AI Bing, it suddenly makes you feel you are one step closer to Shashi Tharoor. The first version, you repeat it, iterate 2-3 times, it makes you feel, oh, this is better than the earlier one. But to put a nutshell, how do you, even without GPT or AI Bing and all that, we always been, when we write a script, what do we do? We first create a first version, then we show it to somebody, or we ourselves revise it and come out the next version. So we do it in an iterative process. ChatGPT, it only helps you to improves that opportunity by multifold because of the speed at which it can access things. So basically, the number of iterations it can do in a quick time, that helps you. That's how it helps you in creative writing. But there's nothing originally creative about AI.
So, thank you, Ranganathan, for telling us about about AI and ChatGPT. I was completely clueless about it. So, every time when we write a script, as you said, that AI or ChatGPT, what it does, it actually changes your script and replaces normal words with fancy and elite sounding words. So, whenever we write a script, actually, this is exactly what we do, but we take a lot of time. Like when I will write the first draft, it will be very simple. Then I would look to create I would try to bring some fancy words. Then I would want to evoke some emotions with the imaginative use of metaphors and different kind of figures of speech I would try to bring. So like that requires, I think, 6-7 iteration it requires to create a very wonderfully sounding speech. So AI is the ChatGPT is actually doing nothing but it is doing that same process very quickly for us. I think this is what I have understood. So my next question is to Sudha. Sudha, can you share an experience where you used your imagination and writing skills to create an experience or something with your own experience or someone else's experience to create a well-structured script with opening, body, and conclusion? Like, an experience that you had, and then you transformed it into a well-crafted speech, well-structured speech
So,
without AI.
yeah, of course. So, like I said earlier, we didn't have ChatGPT when I started with Toastmasters. And I think for me, the speech writing used to start probably a week before at least, so that you know which level you're covering, what is the objectives. And I used to kind of cover the objectives and try to put a story, what I want to convey in the speech, and then put as many thoughts as possible without looking at the time, and just keep putting your thoughts. And then comes another stage when you're trying to improvise the structure in a way that it is conveying an impactful message. Now, the third one is then you sprinkle it with a little bit of humor, a little bit of metaphors, a little bit of quotes, facts, or some kind of, numbers in case if the speech requires that. And then you're ready with some kind of speech where you think you can start talking about it. And when you start actually rehearsing, you realize, oh, it doesn't sound right. It might have been thinking right, but when you actually talk about it, it doesn't sound right. And then you try to say, how is it going to grip the audience? And then you think of a personal incident. And then you try to look at the personal incident and add into it. Because believe me, in any good speech, it's the connection to the audience. And I believe that that is how the speeches, even if you see an ISC, a district level, a division level, wherever you go, the people who have won those really high-powered competitions is because they have a connection to the audience. And that's where your own creativity and your own story plays a big, big role. I tell you, if it is a ChatGPT speech, you can make out very well that the speech doesn't have a heart. The speech doesn't have a soul. And you think that, okay, it sounds all correct. It sounds all very, hi-fi, and the words are very good, but there is something missing, which is probably your own experience and your own, what do you say, thoughts, which have not gone into it. So I think it's like a fast food track, I believe, and it is representative of the generation that we are living in. It is a necessary evil, but I think we all need to know how to moderate using this necessary evil, and at what cost. If it's at your growth, and if it is at your stunting your creativity, then please, I will not do it.
Thank you, Sudha, for enlightening us with your answers. My next question is to Toastmaster Ranganathan. Ranganathan, you think the AI and ChatGPT can help us in writing better scripts than Toastmasters?
Yeah,
Can we use it?
it's not just about writing a script, but before we write a script, normally we do a research, right? And any topic, we do a research and try to find out. Let me give my own example. A few months ago, I was preparing a blog on green IT subject, which is passionate to me. I was actually trying to uh, go through Google search and relevant topics I went through, and I prepared about 600, 700 words of this blog. Then out of blue, I said, why not let me try using ChatGPT? I use more of Bing AI Copilot. I put the same thing in the Copilot. Bingo, it gave me a 1,200-page article which I actually wanted to publish. It not only gave me the topic what I have to speak, it also gave me an additional 4 references which I read through, which enlarged my idea. Oh, it is original idea was definitely there. It expanded my knowledge by adding few more topics which I know I would have in my human speed. I would have never got access to so much of information. Whereas this Copilot not only prepared the whole 1200 page, 1200 letter character blog, it also gave relevant references which are all much more uh, focused than what I myself could have done it. So it's a learning process. Plus, in the process of script, of course, it all obviously enhances the writing thing. And probably instead of me doing over multiple iterations, straight away it saves me time. Like I said, nothing good or bad. It does not suppress me. In fact, it helped me to learn more rather than, you know, shorten my own creative skill. But its idea is ours. We just type a few sentences, it expands on that. So from that perspective, I think it's a good way to use these tools. Like any tool, you have got there are positive and not so positive things, but it's up to us how to adapt and move forward. And that is my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to Ranga, I feel that it is not that you should not use ChatGPT. It is important that you enhance your original content with a ChatGPT. Now, for example, the facts are very difficult for us to just get it on a Google and keep going to different websites and stuff. So ChatGPT does a wonderful job on that, no doubt. But I think it's about originality and resources, right? So when you're talking about resources to create a speech, yes, use ChatGPT, but maintain your originality. That is a very important aspect here.
Thanks a lot, Sudha. I was coming to you with the same topic, same question. Thanks, Ranganathan, for this, for your insights. I think, as both of you rightly said, it's good to use it only to generate more ideas. Like whatever we have come up with, it will provide us more resources and more references related to that work. So I think it's a good idea to incorporate the ideas which are coming from AI to our original ideas while maintaining the originality. Now, moving on, we talked about how it is helping us. Next question is, you think next question to Ranganathan is, what do you think there can be any potential disadvantages of using AI, be it Copilot or ChatGPT or any other application? Like, can there be any disadvantages?
The thing I can think of is we all suffer what is called a confirmation bias. We have an idea, and when we search for topics related to that, we automatically pick up those topics which agree with us, and probably we spend less time on things which we don't agree. It happens even in WhatsApp messages. We scroll quickly. Things which we like, we say thumbs up, very good, excellent. Things we don't like, we really felt compelled to write a couple of things against it. So to a certain extent, all of us suffer this confirmation bias. But now, technology in the form of ChatGPT actually accelerates this confirmation bias. The search engines, the algorithm they use, they have certain ranking based on the number of times a particular article is read, etc. So what is prevalent idea is taken as the most dominant view. I don't want to give examples where it become a political discussion. We had recently couple of examples in an Indian context as well. There's nothing about whether it's true or false, but there is a larger opinion, larger amount of articles written about a particular topic. However, whether it is true or false, that becomes a dominant view. And because the amount of information that quickly the ChatGPT or any generative AI tool searches through, it sort of accelerates and amplifies that confirmation bias to a certain extent. But it is not a fault of technology per se. We all suffer that inherently. It is only enhancing. A tool is a tool. Efficiency, whether you are proceeding in the right direction or in the different direction, you will proceed faster with technology. But we can't blame technology for that, but that can be said as a loose, I mean, in my opinion, I don't know whether others agree, confirmation bias can be one negative aspect people may bring about generative AI in general.
Okay, so confirmation bias, as you said. As you told us that it is helping us accelerate thinking process. It is assisting us in accelerating the thinking process. Like we were taking the 5-6 iteration to write a script or a speech, and now it is providing us the same amount of work in 5 minutes, let's say. But at the same time, it is accelerating the confirmation bias, a bias that we all are born with as humans. So it is accelerating that also. with the same speed. So yeah, that is one potential disadvantage of use of AI. Now coming to Sudha, Sudha, what do you think can be the potential disadvantage of using AI for script writing?
I think gone are the days already when you talk of good grammar, good mathematics, good addition, subtraction skills, multiplication skills, division, whatever, long division. All these are things which we learned not because the computers couldn't do it later on, but that improved our brain capacity, right? And we have tested our limits to that extent, and we know that our brain can do that much, right? Or even more. Now, you may say that AI is also created by human beings, but that may be a small portion of human beings who are creating that tool for us. Not the human race as such is dependent on that tool. So I think there is a scope for deterioration of mental capacity beyond a particular level, and which is very dangerous according to me. And if you look at exams now, for instance, the exams today are very different from ours. I mean, and my son goes to university in Boston. He's a Boston University student, and he was telling me like, okay, I'm studying for this exam and all. And then I also realized one of the exams is open book. Okay, now an open book exam is something which according to me, is copying. But I know the skills required because people don't get good marks in a open exam book because the potential of the questions asked, the difficulty level is very different. So there is an element of testing your skills there. But I feel that there should be some basic level of, I mean, grammar, for example, vocabulary, for example, it's gone for a toss. Grammarly and all these kind of apps which have come, and they have completely taken it away. And you need a telephone, you have to look at your mobile and remember. So I think I'm really worried about those kind of abilities in human beings is going to deteriorate to an extent that we may never have a substitution for that other than a mobile or a computer to do it. Then if you want to go back to that thinking, it's going to be difficult. I don't know what Ranga thinks, unless you have an app created like saying, okay, I've traveled so far, I want to go back in time. So that's a very difficult proposition. And I think we should not go to a level where we should not have those basic skills, or the mental, what do you say, stretch, as you call it, is not tried and tested.
Very nicely said, Sudha. Definitely, it is affecting our imagination, creativity, originality, as well as grammar. And like if we talk about other applications, they are even affecting our mathematical skills, calculation, and all. So yes, it is
Sorry,
affecting.
a simple thing like even writing. I don't know, that itself is gone for a toss. If you ask a person of this generation to write, he struggles. Typing is very easy. So we have come from there itself such a long way. And we are keeping on talking about more improvements, more improvements. I think we should try to be the master of our invention rather than the invention being our master. I think that's the way I look at it.
Rightly said. It has been said that when we write something on a piece of paper, there is a hand, eye, and mind coordination, which helps produce more ideas. It helps building memory. It helps in different ways. Like it is really very effective, and it helps relieving stress also when we write on a piece of paper. So yes, writing is also one thing which we are like. We are forgetting. Writing, handwriting is one thing that we are forgetting these days. So I think we can say that yes, use of technology is good. We should use it judiciously. I think that we can say. Ranganathan, would you like to conclude the discussion about the pros and cons of AI? What do you say? Like how much should be used and how much should be avoided? What
Yeah,
is your final takeaway?
my point is the pros and cons, instead of looking at it as the pros and cons, any technology whose time has come, it's difficult. I mean, nobody can stop it. Now, it's true every time when there is a technology happen, what people are worried about the change that brings in. People are really scared about status quo being disturbed. And in the process, typically across the right from industrial revolution or even much before that when agricultural revolution happened, all this era, people are afraid of change. And there are typically three different types of reaction. Some people resist change, and those are the people who fall by the wayside. There are people who reluctantly accept change is inevitable, I had to go through. They somehow get by. But there are people who override the leading edge of the technological change, embrace it with full attention, and they thrive with the technology, and they do much better. It has happened multiple times. I mean, in industrial revolution, when automation came in, people worried about job losses, things, etc. Actually, all of them were unfounded, right? Even in early days when we introduced computers in bank, they had to surreptitiously call it as advanced ledger posting machine. They cannot call it computer because unions will go for strike. But today, which suppose will any bank employee union support saying that from tomorrow we are going to go back to manual ledger? It's impossible. The automation has definitely brought in new thing, and people are not lost the job; it has only increased. Same thing to a by and large last same way. Even we can talk about Gen AI or AI as a tool. People need to embrace that and start using it. But we cannot conclude this topic without reference to how many of us know that Toastmasters we have something called Udly. I don't know whether anybody has tried that. It's a wonderful tool. You just, I mean, earlier if I prepare for a speech, I had to make my wife sit and talk to her, and she is the poor lady. She has to listen to me, and with the however interesting it is, she has to keep a very interesting face, even if it is boring. But here now, I don't know how to do that. This listens to your speech and tells you how many times. I mean, it plays the role of accounter as well as the grammarian and everything put together. It can also detect your pace and your voice modulation, how flat it was otherwise. But it cannot replace the human being in terms of contextual evaluation, which it cannot do, at least not as of today. Maybe in future, but I doubt. So I recommend all Toastmasters to use that, especially for table topics. You can really try innovative topics and then practice that. It's a short duration. And please try that. All Toastmasters are by default. We have got the access to that. Udly is a private company, but the Toastmaster tied up with that. Please try that. Even I got introduced to it through one of the fellow Toastmasters, Sri Mohan from one of my clubs.
Okay.
He introduced this to Udly, and I found it very interesting why we were not aware of this. So to cut a long story short, any technology will bring in changes. So how do we ride the change? Are we going to reluctantly accept or we are going to resist it? Depends on that will decide whether we are going to thrive or we get along or we fall by the wayside. Back to you, Palvi.
Thank you for summing up the topic and also letting us know about the Udly and its importance, how it helps, how you try to replace your voice with the Udly. Okay, now it's in the interest of time, I would like to open the podium for question answers from audience. Can we have questions from audience? Is there anyone who would like to ask, who has a doubt and they want to ask something from our experts? Is there someone who would like to ask a question in the audience? You can also type your question.
Yeah, Ravindra.
I can see
You go ahead.
Ravindra.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ravi here. I put my full name there, Ravindranath. Just to, the ChatGPT part where you mentioned about, the originality and things. All right. See, I was a in media space selling, and now in the marketing side, the demand generation and things, where you need to create proposals and things, right? And what I use ChatGPT is the originality is put in my draft, all right, and then I put it to fine tune or copy edit. So what I've observed in fine tuning, it fine tunes in such a way that my message is different, all right, and then I try to again reiterate, and then probably the best way of doing it is to copy edit, and I'd say it stays with my whatever I want to communicate. Probably because my English is not at the best, okay, and hence I use ChatGPT to to fine tune it or copy edit it, so that when I represent to a customer or insight, it becomes that way. So that's basically, I limit myself in the ChatGPT. But there has been places where I tried to get the entire idea, which has not been successful. So yes, the originality remains with us, and probably the fine tuning remains with the tool. When you move up the graph, probably the less use of ChatGPT. That's all what it was not a question. It's basically my experience, which I wanted to put it across.
Thank you, Ravindranath, for sharing your experience. Yeah, it was not not a question, but more of your opinion. Can we have anyone else who wants to ask a question? You can write your question in the chat box. Can we have questions from the audience? Okay, since I don't see anyone raising a doubt, since our experts explained the topic so nicely, I would like to ask something from Toastmaster Sudha. Sudha, if you have to sum up how sum up the use of ChatGPT for, let's say, one of the application of AI, how would you like to sum it up, like in terms of its pros and cons? How much should we use it?
Yeah, I think Mr. Ravindranath Nair just
Yeah, you can put me Ravi.
Ravi.
That's
Okay,
simple
yeah.
for everybody. Yeah.
I think he also pretty much spoke my mind. I think it is necessary to enhance your originality. It's a great tool. So there is, I think in ChatGPT, there's something called improve. Yeah. So when you just write improve, I think it just enhances whatever you have created. So I personally think that it is not something you shouldn't use, because why not? It's something which can make your output much better, either in Toastmasters or any other podium or platform that you are going to be taking, like a keynote speaker, or try to use that to enhance your speech. That is something which you should do. And also, when you're doing a speech where there is a lot of numbers, resources, facts, which you need to kind of get into one single report generation, ChatGPT does a great job as long as you have a good question. So I think the pros are many. The cons are also there, but I personally think that uh, we should be able to use pros in a way that we don't become a slave to our own tool. So I think take up your speeches well in advance. Don't think that you're going to be becoming a speech expert just because you've given your name and you're to be ready with it. No, that's not the real growth. I think you have to give it time. Everything takes time. So personally, take time to put your thoughts, keep improvising it, and then go to ChatGPT for your final output, and then get ready for, and yes, use Udly for your enhancement of the speech as well, and then you're ready. So there's no taboo about it, but use it selectively and wisely. Yeah.
Thank you, Sudha, for your view on this topic. Okay, since we don't have any other questions from audience, I would like to ask Toastmaster Ranganathan one last question, since we have 4 minutes left. Toastmaster Ranganathan, can you give any tip to use ChatGPT nicely, like more effectively, to create a good script? Like, what can be the tips that we can use? to use it effectively?
Simple. I mean, ChatGPT, if you are using free versions, I think there has a restriction on number of words that you can use. So if you're writing a 600 word or 700 word speech, break into smaller pieces and then feed them. Each version is better than what it was earlier. In fact, I tried different combination. I first prepare a two-line statement, put it in Bing AI, and then whatever Bing AI says, take it and put it in ChatGPT. It comes a slightly improved version. Then I decide which one appeals to me. But one tip I would like to assure is when you deliver a speech, writing a script is you may embellish with very excellent choice of words, right? It may appeal to a grammarian, but you also need to be careful whether are you comfortable with all those words. For example, I have a problem with saying environment. It doesn't come to me, right? It doesn't roll in my mouth as easily. So everybody has some. For example, uh, Southeast nations, they have difficulty pronouncing R and L very differently. They often get confused. So this ChatGPT, etc., may give you improved version, very high sounding words, which may be very appealing when you read, but when you try to speak, please be careful what suits you, and then customize to your own speech delivery. But one fundamental thing I wanted to highlight here is no matter how effective your script is, still the delivery is something which has to be original. You got to focus and get it right. You advantage of using ChatGPT, etc., or like you focus more on the delivery and leave this grammar and better improved version, etc., to somebody else. So to that extent, that's true. Communication is not about what we speak; it's about how you deliver, right? So that gives you more time to focus on your delivery aspect, body language, and eye contact, etc., etc., rather than only the worrying about the how the words sound. Yeah, that's what I would like to say in nutshell.
Nicely highlighted by you. Yeah, we need to be mindful of our own capabilities also. Like AI might suggest us very fancy words and words with difficult pronunciation, but if we are not able to speak them properly, it is of no use. So yes, we need to be mindful of that also.
Basically, you have to
So
be able to walk the talk. I mean,
exactly.
if either you're speaking through somebody else, it is very visible. Like that's what I mentioned. I mean, it's your personality has to come out in your speech, and ChatGPT will not do that. I think you have to get your originality in the speech. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth, for presenting your view on it and accentuating the point. So we can conclude that yes, it is a very good tool. We can use it, but then we need to be careful that how much we use it, and we need to be careful about our own limitations, about our own capabilities. Maybe it can provide us something which we are not able to use. So yes, we need to use it very mindfully. With this, I would like to hand over the podium to Toastmaster Sunita. Toastmaster Sunita,
Yeah.
over to you.
Thank you so much, Pallavi. That was nicely done. Thank you, Sudha and Ranganathan as well. Before I comment anything at all, I would first like to invite distinguished Toastmaster Akshay Singh to evaluate Pallavi's panel discussion, which she had today. Over to you, Akshay.
Thank you once again. Happy evening to each and every one of you. Today, our panel discussion moderator Pallavi Murate ensured a panel discussion on the topic speech writing with the help of AI and ChatGPT tools, having panelists Sudha and Ranga. Well, let me highlight the points of the panel discussion which I really appreciate and loved it. For example, Pallavi started by setting the context. She used her personal Toastmaster story to highlight the importance of speech writing, the creativeness which is required to share that what we used to do before these tools came. So that was done on point. The next aspect which I really enjoyed was the every question which was asked, after the response, there was a smile for acknowledgement. And the key point which Pallavi took back from that particular response was reiterated for all the audience members. Third point, which I really loved, was there was a balance ensured between both the panelists. Although when Ranga started his introduction, he did answer a couple of perspectives. Then the next question went to Sudha, and continuously the balance was well maintained. Whenever both the panelists gave response, again the next question came back in such a way that we hear the perspectives of our both panelists. So kudos to you, Pallavi, for ensuring the moderation was balanced, starting with the context setting of your personal Toastmaster story as what exactly used to happen and what has changed, and finally acknowledging the points and smiling. Every panel discussion moderator looks forward to knowing what more can be done or what can be done better. So let me reiterate 3 points which I felt if I would have been there, I would have done it in this different. For examples, whenever the questions were being asked, I felt to context. The context at the start makes sense because you were trying to highlight what used to be. But throughout the moderation, I felt that there were questions which were too long. You could have asked specific questions with specific answers so that more questions could be asked to a panelist and the panelists could have been informed in advance so that to restrict their answers to answer those specific questions. That way we could have heard more varied perspectives. Second aspect is, for example, the points which you reiterate. At the end, you could have summarized the entire discussion as to what was mentioned by Toastmaster Ranga, what was mentioned by Toastmaster Sudha, what were the different disadvantages like bias, as well as we are losing out the skills which helps develop our brain. All these things could have been highlighted as a summary. Another added advantage or added thing you could have done is you could have summarized it and posted it in the chat so that it is available for all our members. The third point which I felt was you asked for the questions towards the end, at, and one of the audience members did share their perspective. You could have mixed it up during the panel discussion. You could have asked maybe a poll. Once Ranga mentioned about the bias, you could have felt how many of you have used the chat GPT? Have you experienced this bias? You could have received responses, and that would have enriched the panel discussion. Overall, Toastmaster Pallavi, you ensure that the panel is well moderated, the questions key point was highlighted, there was a smile to engage, a personal story was shared, incorporating the points of mixing up the audience involvement, as well as ensuring the questions are to the point, and finally summarizing the entire discussion. I'm sure next time anyone reviewing this panel discussion will get a clear idea as to what are the points which we can incorporate, and as well as remember the strengths of Pallavi is something which we should definitely include and take such panel discussions opportunity more often. Wish you all the best, Pallavi. Hope you ordered more panels successfully in future. Kudos to you, and back to Toastmasters.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Akshay. That was a lovely evaluation. Once again, thank you to the panelists, Sudha as well as Ranganathan, for giving us such intriguing answers to the questions where we could also think, and now probably we can type into the chat GPT and check what suits our personality. Thank you once again, Pallavi, and thank you to everybody else who joined us. I will now stop the recording. We shall see you all for next Wednesday Wisdom. I'm sure the convener Sanjeev has something up his sleeve with a nicer and wiser topic. He was unable to join us today. 1 minute.